Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jang. Let's take a look at some of our top stories today. Firefighters continue to battle the current largest fire in the state. They're saying fires are getting worse every year. We also hear experiences from evacuees who escaped. A California county is being sued for allegedly encouraging racial quotas in its contract awards. The suit says such practices are a violation of the state and U.S. Constitutions. With California's wildfire season getting longer and more severe each year, the state's firefighters face a tough uphill battle. The Oak Fire is this year's largest and has already burned through an area half the size of San Francisco. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
Mariposa County, California. Firefighters are taking on 24-hour shifts as they try to contain the blaze of the Oak Fire. Fire Captain Jared Abbott has been fighting fires for 10 years. He leads a team of 3 firefighters.
Definitely satisfying knowing you're helping people, the greater good. That's what we're here for. That's why we all do the job. But, you know, some days are harder than others. Some days you're exhausted, especially days where you're working throughout the night on that 24-hour shift and you have no sleep.
The 24-hour shifts seem to be putting a dent in the fire. According to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, the Oak Fire was 26% contained and had destroyed 25 homes by Tuesday morning. With a decade on the job, Abbott said every year California's fire season seems to get worse and worse.
The next season is worse than the one before it. So it's been busy. You know, I'm usually out 3 14-day assignments a year, and they're long summers, you know.
The work is challenging and can be dangerous, but Abbott says the hardest part is leaving his young family at home for long periods while he fights fires.
You know, they're the real heroes back home. I have a wife and 2 kids, and it's a lot. It's just as much. It's just as hard on them as it is on us out here. I have 2 young kids. I have a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter, and they're so young they don't, understand why I'm gone.
According to Cal Fire, 15 of the 20 most destructive fires in California history have struck since 2015, when measured by deaths and structures burned. As of Tuesday, the Oak Fire was moving northward into the Sierra National Forest, no longer in the direction of Yosemite, some 10 miles to the east, according to Cal Fire. A grove of Yosemite's giant ancient sequoia trees appeared safe, but it had been threatened by a wildfire weeks ago. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Despite all the work firefighters are doing to control the blaze, the Oak Fire has still taken its toll. Desperate residents were forced to flee their homes as the blaze consumed everything in sight. Here's what they had to say.
Since it ignited on July 22nd, the Oak Fire has burned through at least 18,000 acres, an area about half the size of San Francisco. According to Cal Fire, by Tuesday morning, it was 26% contained and had destroyed 25 homes. The same morning, evacuees gathered at an evacuation center in nearby Mariposa. For one 64-year-old who moved to the area 3 years ago, it was her first time experiencing a fire. She said she'll be better prepared next time.
Oh, it's devastating. My first fire, and my neighbor said, "Come on, Sherry, we've got to get out." I tried to get my cat wouldn't come.
For 82-year-old Sally McCullough, the experience of evacuating her home was upsetting.
Well, it's very upsetting. I was nervous the first go-round 4 years ago, and I broke out crying and had terrible shakes. I couldn't hardly stop crying for a long time. This time I felt I'm a trooper. I've been there. I've done it before. I want to just keep my head about me, and I'm prepared.
Well, this is the 3rd time for me, so I had stuff still in boxes. I'm in the process of writing a book, and I didn't want to leave any of my work there, so I just grabbed whatever I could and got out of there. That's the best we could do.
I threw a couple things in a bag, came without everything, my jewelry, everything, and one change of clothes, not even a change of clothes. I grabbed a pair of slacks, and so anyhow, people were complaining in the shelter. I haven't changed clothes since Friday. I said, well, I haven't either.
With such a large burn area, authorities remain uncertain about when residents will be able to return to their homes.
We want to make sure that we have a really good containment line before we let these folks back into their homes, because we don't want them to go back into their homes and then the fire change direction or anything like that to happen and then them have to evacuate again. So we just really stress to be patient. We have crews from all over the state of California working on this fire. This is the only major wildland fire in California right now, so we were able to get a lot of resources.
The fire was moving northward into the Sierra National Forest, no longer in the direction of Yosemite National Park, some 10 miles to the east. A grove of Yosemite's giant ancient sequoia trees appears safe, though it had been threatened by a wildfire weeks ago.
A county in California is being sued for programs that allegedly discriminate against qualified contractors based on their race. Prosecutors say that these programs are unconstitutional and against the law.
The Californians for Equal Rights Foundation, along with 2 co-plaintiffs, filed a complaint in the Superior Court of California this week against Alameda County. They're alleging state programs encourage racial quotas.
The argument of the lawsuit is that the Alameda County government is violating both the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and the California State Constitution, the Equal Protection Clause in the state constitution specifically, by implementing 2 public contracting programs that set aside 15% of quotas or participation goals for minority-owned businesses.
Wu and her foundation's co-plaintiffs are suing over the Alameda County Construction Compliance Program and Enhanced Construction Outreach Program. The Pacific Legal Foundation, who is representing the co-plaintiffs, have said that governments should not be denying small businesses a contract based solely on their race.
The impact of having racial quotas under the banner of a participation goal for minority-owned businesses is discrimination. Looking at preferential treatment translating into inefficiency, translating into a process of awarding government contracts not on the basis of merit, but on the basis of race.
Many construction company owners, including those who would benefit from the racial quotas, have commented that these programs have been more negative on the county and state. Andrew Salazar, a Los Angeles-based mixed-race construction company planner, told the California Globe that minority-owned company set-asides and quotas have proven to be more harmful than good. He also comments that the government is choosing companies based on their race instead of going with, quote, quality or the lowest bidder.
On one hand, businesses that are not minority-owned are going to be discriminated against, even if their credentials are strong. They're not competing with all the other small businesses on an equal footing. And on the other hand, every taxpayer in Alameda County is going to see their tax dollars going to be wasted because,
according to the complaint, the law is taking advantage of taxpayers and denying equal opportunity for all contracting companies through, quote, government-sanctioned racial discrimination. A scheduled court date for the lawsuit is still pending. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
A parents' rights organization was temporarily locked out of Twitter after criticizing a gender transition bill. Here's what happened.
Twitter suspended Moms for Liberty, a parental rights organization started by 2 moms, on Monday. They posted a tweet that criticized California's SB 107 gender-affirming healthcare introduced by Senator Scott Wiener in 2021. On Monday morning, the organization tweeted, "Gender dysphoria is a mental health disorder that is being normalized by predators across the USA." Twitter then locked the organization's account, citing violations like harassment of race, ethnicity, and gender. In a tweet on Sunday, Moms for Liberty co-founder Tiffany Justice wrote, citing another suspended account, Children are not born in the wrong bodies. Children cannot consent to puberty blockers. Florida Department of Health Press Secretary Jeremy Redfern tweeted, California will take your kid, put them into their foster system, and allow them to receive a double mastectomy. Moms for Liberty was locked for 12 hours and allowed limited features. SB 107 would prohibit law enforcement agencies from arresting or extraditing parents charged in other states for child abuse or other crimes related to transitioning procedures. It will be heard again in the legislation on August 3rd.
We're going to take a short break, but we've got a lot of great stories ready for you when we come back. Here's a look. The Attorney General said over 1 million people are facing eviction in the state now that most moratoriums have come to an end. But he also said that renters should take proper legal routes to evict people. And if you're thinking of adopting a pet, there may be some places that are better than others to go find the animal you're looking for. Our reporter in California went to hear the advantages of rescuing a pet from a shelter. That and more on California Today. As many as 1.5 million people renting space in California are facing eviction after many COVID-19 rent moratoriums have ended. That's according to the Attorney General. He's reminding landlords that if they are to evict a tenant, they still have to do it in a legal process. Here are the details.
Most of the state's lockdown-based eviction moratoriums have come to an end. The state's Attorney General Rob Bonta said this month that nearly 1.5 million renters in California are at risk of eviction, struggling to put together next month's rent as the cost of living continues to rise. Bonta's office issued guidelines asking California law enforcement to not respond to illegal attempts in removing tenants who don't pay rent. These illegal actions involve landlords taking matters into their own hands, such as changing locks, shutting off power, or removal of personal property in order to remove a tenant out of their home. Bonta says landlords need to file court actions for evictions instead. But Dan Ugelson, executive director at the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles, says landlords have been struggling financially due to non-payments from tenants. He said many owners are forced out of business as a result, leaving less affordable housing in the area. According to the Public Policy Institute of California, 1 in 7 renters in the Golden State are behind on their rent. Website iProperty Management says there are almost 6 million renters in California, which means roughly 864,000 people are behind on rent. About 3/4 of those missed payments are at least a couple of months behind, whereas the remaining quarter are 5 or more months late.
The Oakland police are asking the public to help identify a suspect responsible for ATM fraud. The person involved is using technology to steal credit card numbers and PIN information, known as skimming.
Police were investigating fraudulent activity on July 16th, just after 9 p.m. at the 7-Eleven on 3500 Grand Avenue. Video surveillance shows an individual applying what appears to be a device known as a skimmer on the credit card machine inside the store. A skimmer is a machine that reads credit or debit cards and collects the card number and PIN information. They are often found at ATMs and gas stations. Police found 2 other devices in January and April this year. They recommend checking for any loose parts between the reader and the panel underneath it to see if such a device is installed.
Last week, we reported on a rare tropical flower growing in Silicon Valley, and it just bloomed Tuesday night. This is Terry Titan, nicknamed after its scientific name Titan arum, also known as the corpse flower. It's reportedly the first documented bloom of its kind in San Jose history. It's been growing at San Jose State University's greenhouse facility for about 9 years, and the corpse flower is known to smell like, quote, a decomposing body to attract beetles and flies once it blooms. It's estimated that there are only 1,000 of them out in the wild, and it only stays bloomed for about 24 to 36 hours. While almost everything can be purchased conveniently online, including even pets, some things are better done the old-fashioned way. NTD's Jackie Rios went out to hear why, if you're in the market for a pet, animal shelters may be the better way to go.
Many people want to own a pet, a cat or a dog, but what's the best and safest way for you to become a pet owner? We visited a Los Angeles County animal shelter to find out how you can become a proud parent of a four-legged creature.
Last week, the manager of the Baldwin Park Animal Care Center talked about all the advantages of adopting a pet from a care shelter. Maria Rosales introduced a wide range of pets available for adoption.
We do have dogs, we have cats, we have rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, snakes, turtles. We also have farm animals. We have pigs, we have birds, we have roosters, chickens, a variety of animals.
Rosales mentioned the reasons why buying from a shelter may be a better option.
But keeping in mind, that when they're getting that pet from somewhere else versus coming here, the animal may not be vaccinated, they may not be microchipped, they may not be spayed or neutered. Therefore, we encourage, public or families, wanting to adopt to come directly to us and save an animal here.
She explained the benefits of the shelter microchipping an animal. For those animal lovers who have lost a pet in the past, this might be a great incentive to come to a shelter.
One of the biggest benefits of microchipping an animal is if that animal, goes out of your or leaves your house, is roaming on the street, somebody brings it in, those animals, we're able to scan them and alert the pet owner that their animal is here. And the fastest way that that we can get the pet owner to come and retrieve the animal is by scanning that microchip.
Rosales said the shelter's website works real time, and the shelter offers specials regularly. Of course, families can come in person as well.
They can either come here in person, or they can also go on our website. The description of the animal, a variety of breeds are listed. And as they're incoming here into our care center, they go live on our website. So anything that they see on the website is also here in our care center.
All 7 of the LA County animal shelters are over capacity. Rosales reminded potential pet owners their goal in adopting out animals.
To save a life, needless to say, is the best and most rewarding, feeling that a person can have. We have so many well-deserved animals, deserving animals here at our care centers that are just waiting for that person to come in, open up their heart and their home and adopt. Our focus is to have live and positive outcomes for any animal that comes into our care center.
From pit bulls to poodles to cats and rabbits, if you want to add a pet to your family, county-run animal shelters are a great place to start. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Now we're going to take it over to NTD's Thomas Christian for your sports roundup.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. The PGA Tour has created a separate eligibility points list for the FedEx Cup playoffs that ensures golfers who were suspended for joining the LIV Golf Invitational Series do not negatively affect other players' eligibility. At the end of the PGA Tour's regular season, the top 125 in the eligibility points list makes the playoffs, which are 3 events featuring a progressive cut with fields of 125, 70, and 30 players. The winner gets $18 million from a $75 million bonus pool. According to a memo sent to players, the circuit's policy board has approved a new ranking called the FedEx Cup Playoffs and Eligibility Points List that omits players who have been suspended but have not re-signed from the PGA Tour, i.e. those who have joined LIV Golf. Among those who have joined the LIV Golf and therefore have been removed from the eligibility list are Taylor Gooch, who is 20th in the FedEx Cup standings, 4-time major champion Brooks Koepka, and Mexico's Abraham Ancer. Due to the changes, 2012 U.S. Open champion Webb Simpson, who is 125th on the regular season FedEx Cup points list, has moved up to 117th, on the eligibility points list with 2 events left before the August 11 through 15 playoff opener in Memphis, Tennessee. Stefan Jaeger, who was 133rd on the regular season FedEx Cup points list, is now 125th on the new eligibility list. The PGA Tour has dropped the hammer they said they would on the pros who left for LIV Golf. We are yet to see how these changes will affect pro golf in the future, but it is clear there is a staunch divide between the LIV newcomers and the legacy of the PGA Tour. Luis Garcia hit a go-ahead 2-run homer in the 8th inning as Washington beat the National League best Dodgers, their 2nd consecutive win in LA. Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger homered for the Dodgers, who have dropped 2 straight to the Major League worst record Nationals after winning a season-best 8 in a row. Nationals 8, Dodgers 3. Jorge Alfaro drove in 3 runs, including a 2-run single in the 10th inning, and visiting San Diego defeated Detroit. Luke Voigt also knocked in 3 runs for San Diego, and Manny Machado had 2 hits and 2 runs. Taylor Rogers picked up the win despite blowing a 9th inning lead. Nick Martinez collected his 4th save. Padres 6, Tigers 4 in 10 innings. Christian Walker hit a tie-breaking 3-run homer in Arizona, won for the 5th time in 6 games, knocking off San Francisco in Phoenix. Wilmer Flores hit a 2-run homer for the Giants, who matched their season-worst losing streak of 6 games. Carlos Rodon struck out 10 while giving up 5 runs, 3 hits, and 2 walks in 6 innings. Diamondbacks 7, Giants 3. Jose Suarez threw 5 1/3 scoreless innings, and Shohei Ohtani and Max Stassi homered to lift visiting Anaheim to a victory over the Kansas City Royals. Suarez, who pitched more than 5 innings for just the 2nd time this season, gave up 3 hits, struck out 3, and walked 1 while hurling 78 pitches. Anaheim's Luis Rengifo had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and Magneuris Sierra added 2 hits. The Angels won for the 2nd time in 3 games. The teams will play the rubber match of their 3-game series on Wednesday. Angels 6, Royals 0. Chad Pinder's grand slam provided an early lead, and Frankie Montas worked 5 innings for his first win since June 11th, as host Oakland made it 2 in a row over AL West leading Houston with a victory. With a man on first and 2 outs in the 3rd inning, Houston's Luis Garcia walked Ramon Laureano and Sean Murphy consecutively to set the stage for Pinder, whose grand slam was the 4th of his career and 2nd this month. Garcia lasted 5 2/3 innings, charged with 4 runs on 4 hits. A's 5, Astros 3. As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd love for you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, or if you just want to let us know how we're doing, our email is california.today@ntd.com. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jang. Have a wonderful evening.